Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Have an off day. Obviously, the Texans play on Saturday, so a little bit of a wonky schedule, but still wanted to bring you a video here because we got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about before this Texans versus Chiefs game. And speaking of Texans versus Chiefs, I'll be live this Saturday. Kickoff is at noon Eastern, so make sure you're here on the channel for our live watch party. We have giveaways. We have a ton of fun stuff going on, so make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're there for our Texans watch party. We'll be rooting on the good guys this Saturday up against the evil Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. So be there or be square. Let me know if you're pumped for this Saturday's game. If you're ready to cheer on the Texans, let me get some H's down in the comments section. Let me get some H-towns down below if you're pumped for this Saturday's matchup. So let's get right into it. Let's get into the shocking injury news that's kind of transpired over the past 48 hours. It's around Patrick Mahomes. Some conflicting reports because, Andy Reid said he's confident in Carson Wentz and he's, prepared to, trot out Carson Wentz as the quarterback for next season, or not for next season, for this Saturday. And he's saying all that, saying, want to be more on the cautious side. But at the same time, Patrick Mahomes has been a full participant the past 2 days at Chiefs practice. And when talking to the media, he said, all good on his end. It hurts a little bit, but he's focused on winning. And he said the injury wasn't as worse as the one he suffered against Jacksonville in the playoffs a couple of years ago, where, remember, he was able to come back into the game the next week and throw for over 300 yards to lead the Chiefs on the way to the Super Bowl. But he said this injury isn't as bad as that one, and he was able to come back from that one. So in my eyes, that means all signs are pointing to Patrick Mahomes playing on Saturday up against the Texans. And that changes everything because Patrick Mahomes, obviously one of the best in the NFL, one of the best to ever do it at the quarterback position. And when he's in, the Chiefs are a juggernaut of a team. So the Texans got to prepare for it. Tim Settle, Texans defensive tackle, said it. He doesn't care who's out there. The Texans are getting after it at Arrowhead this Saturday. I love the energy from Tim Settle and this Texans defense. But as of right now, it looks like Patrick Mahomes will be playing on Saturday. I'll keep you updated if there's anything else that comes out. But all signs that I'm seeing, all the tea leaves are reading that number 15 will be out there for the Kansas City Chiefs. Another player for the Chiefs offense that will be back maybe on Saturday, all signs are pointing to his debut, is Hollywood Brown. He's supposed to make his first start of the season. He suffered a dislocated sternovascular joint, an SC joint, but it looks like he's good to go. He's been practicing. All the Chiefs reporters are saying that he looks good out there during practice. And if you don't know what the sternovascular joint is, which, how do you not know what that is? It's basically the clavicle, the shoulder that he was dealing with. This is going to be his first game for the regular season, his regular season debut. So look out for Hollywood Brown this Saturday as well. Obviously, the Texans secondary has been playing very good, so another matchup there. And the not the homecoming, but DeAndre Hopkins game. DeAndre Hopkins playing with the Chiefs right now. So you have DeAndre Hopkins. Now you have Hollywood Brown added to the mix as well for Kansas City. So this offense could be gaining some steam. Now, one part of the offense that will not be is the offensive line. Couple guys on the injury report. Creed Humphrey was a limited participant and looks like he's going to be good to go, just kind of easing his way, getting him some rest throughout the year. But DJ Humphries, the tackle, he is still out with a hamstring injury, and that could be big for this Chiefs offensive line that has struggled mightily this year. They both the tackle spots have not been well. The interior has played well for the Chiefs. Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith looks really good as well, but the tackles for the Chiefs have not held up, and they were hoping that maybe they could get DJ Humphries back, but it looks like he will not be able to go this Saturday, still out with the hamstring injury. I'll keep you updated tomorrow if he returns to practice, but 2 days in a row he's missed practice so far this week. And I'll get more into the Texans side, some Texans injuries, because there's a lot of news on that end too of some guys for the Houston Texans who are on the injury report. I'll break all that down in just a moment, but got to show some love to PrizePicks. America's #1 daily fantasy sports app out there. Over 5 million active members. Make your holidays bigger and brighter over on PrizePicks. All you got to do is choose more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Place your entry. That's it. So it'll be like CJ Stroud, more or less than 212 passing yards. Put in your prediction, put in a lineup, and you're good to go. And during the holiday season, you can win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. They're doing a ton of specials during what they're calling Picksmas. I celebrate Hanukkah, but I also celebrate Picksmas over there on PrizePicks. They're giving away 2 free picks in the month of December and giving away more than $30 million in rewards during the holiday season. So get started with PrizePicks. I have a special promo code for you as well. Use the code CLNS. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS, $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. So get started with PrizePicks. Run your game. Let's talk Texans now. Let's talk Texans injury report. Joe Mixon said he is good to go on Saturday. You know, obviously we all saw this past weekend's game where he suffered a lower body injury, an ankle injury. He was able to come back in the game, but obviously was not himself, did not have that same explosion as weeks prior. But another hip drop tackle, another illegal hip drop tackle where Joe Mixon is on the receiving end. And I'm not comparing it at any point to the Azeez Al-Shire hit, but all I'm saying is I'd like the NFL to somewhat enforce this rule if they're going to make an emphasis on banning the hip drop tackle and making sure that, you know, players' safety is important to them. I want to see something from that because this is the second time this season Joe Mixon has gotten injured with a hip drop tackle. Now, looking more at the Texans injury report, some players that are out, some key guys who might not suit up for the Texans on Saturday. Foley Fatukasi, he was out 2 weeks prior to this past weekend's matchup for the Texans up against the Dolphins, left that game and was not able to return and has not practiced the past couple days. So I would say he is doubtful probably to play on Saturday for the Texans. He's one of the better interior rush defenders for the Texans, so a big loss there. But hopefully, I'd much rather play it on the safe side with Foley Fatukasi, let him sit out the next couple of weeks if need be, and have him ready for the playoffs rather than force him back out there during the regular season. He's somebody who I think the Texans defensive line is much better when he's in the game, especially against the run. So I'd like to see Foley Fatukasi sit out for the next couple weeks and really try to recover that ankle. He's been dealing with multiple injuries this season, the ankle, the foot. I know he's had a shoulder injury as well. So I want to see him be able to come back. Another guy who missed practice, John Mechie with the shoulder. Obviously, the Texans wide receiver core, the wide receiver room, has somewhat been depleted this year at multiple points. Saw Stephon Diggs on Twitter promoting Domino's Pizza. Love some Domino's Pizza. Love me some Stephon Diggs. And I'll talk about more around Stephon Diggs in tomorrow's show because it looks like a reunion is becoming more and more likely with the Texans and Diggs this off season, but I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let's go back to the Texans injury report. Juice Scruggs, obviously they reported that he's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks, not playing this week. So maybe up against the Ravens, I'm not sure. And Kate Stover still dealing with that illness. Hopefully he's getting better. He had to have emergency appendectomy surgery, so he's still recovering from that. Unlikely that we'll see him play up against the Kansas City Chiefs, or I don't know if he's going to play up against the Baltimore Ravens either. Kenyon Green, though, he is fully activated. He has been a full participant the past 2 days at practice, and Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick is saying he's not completely sold on the offensive line. It's not set in stone whatsoever, even though Titus Howard has been seen working at guard again for the past 2 days. And, you know, everybody's been praising Titus Howard up and down, you know, thank you so much for moving to guard. Thank you so much, which it's, you know, a selfless thing, good thing for Titus Howard to move to guard, but also he already got paid. You know, he got his bag, paid like a tackle. If the Texans need him at guard, I'm glad he's willing to move at guard to inside to guard. But I mean, for all things considered, the Texans already paid him, so hopefully he's a, you know, good input there at the guard position. Blake Fisher had some good reps at that right tackle spot. I'd like to see the Texans use that same offensive line, even though Kenyon Green is fully activated. Don't really want to see him in the starting lineup. He's a good, you know, player to have waiting in the wings, having somebody for depth concerns. I mean, that's some good news there for the Texans. If they, God forbid somebody else gets injured along this offensive line, you have a little bit more depth there with Kenyon Green. But I want to see the same lineup go out there. I want to see Titus Howard at guard. He played decent, and a good nugget that I saw from Landry Locker on Twitter is Titus Howard actually played against the Chiefs at the left guard spot 2 years ago in 2022 and handled Chris Jones very well. Was Chris Jones' lowest rated PFF game of that entire season, and was one of Titus Howard's top rated PFF games from that entire season as well. And now that's 2 seasons ago, and a lot of things have changed. Those two players are probably maybe a little bit better, maybe a little bit worse than 2 years ago. But some good nuggets, some good news for this matchup between the Texans and the Chiefs, at least along the front lines right there. And a reminder, I will be live for this Saturday's game, so join me here on Texans Today, rooting on the Houston Texans. Can't wait for some more Texans football. It's going to be an exciting, week that we have here, because the Texans play on Saturday, and then, they play on Christmas. So a week, what is that, a week from today? So in the next 7 days, the Texans are going to be playing 2 football games. A lot on them. So, like I said, I will be keeping you updated throughout this entire week, throughout everything, and I'll be going live for both of those games. So hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on your notifications for daily Texans news and rumors videos.